Today we're going to discuss a very difficult subject, and that's suicide. I know a little bit about it because my son committed suicide. And since his suicide, and even before, there were warnings, there were intuitions. Things just weren't right. He was going through a difficult time in his life because his dad and I were going through a divorce. And as usual, children always get caught up in the middle of their parents' divorces. And he was very unhappy. And yet, I kept praying and asking God to help him. I had a constant prayer. God, please open his eyes and let him see the truth. I prayed this prayer constantly. It was just overwhelming that I needed him to see the truth. And so as time went on, things continued to get worse. And then one morning, a cold January morning, 6:02 a.m. to be exact. I'll never forget that time. It's the first thing I saw on the clock when I heard the gunshot and ran to the bathroom door. Because you see, I saw him walk to that bathroom through the hallway. I was laying down. It was so early in the morning, and this voice told me, why don't you get up and make him breakfast? And I thought, no, leave him alone. Give him his time. Don't get in his way. The last thing I saw when he walked through that bathroom door was the light from the bathroom shining on the hallway wall across from the bathroom. And when that door shut, everything went dark. And that's when I realized that was my moment. When that light went to dark was the last time he was alive. And it was the last time I would have the opportunity to stop it. Now, before this happened, I kept getting these intuitions. I would see hearses behind my car in my rear view mirror, or in front of me, or they would be beside me in the next lane. And I'd look over and wonder, why do I keep seeing all these hearses? And I would get this horrible feeling, these chills all over. And now I realize it was an intuition of some sort. I don't know, a warning maybe? I don't know. The week before he died, the intensity of these intuitive feelings just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And in the morning he passed, when we heard the gunshot, his brother had to knock the door down for me. Knocked it down, and unfortunately it was locked, and so when his body slid against the door, it closed back and locked again. So his brother and I went and tried to break a bathroom window to get in. But eventually we did get in that bathroom. And I got down on my knees, and the first thing I saw was those beautiful, beautiful blue eyes. And they were fixed. They were just looking straight ahead. And I saw something I have never seen in my life. I saw peace. I've often said that when I looked into his eyes that morning, I saw God. And that's the first time I thought, there really is a God. I see him in my child's eyes. It was a beautiful, beautiful, peaceful look. And I've often said, if you've walked into a bedroom where a toddler is sleeping and he looks so angelic, and you think, oh, don't wake him up. He looks so precious and angelic there. That's what I saw. I didn't notice all the blood around him. I noticed the peace in his eyes. And being a typical mother, I picked up a huge bath towel and covered him up to his neck because I didn't want him to get cold. The mom in me was still being a mom. But as time passed by, it became more and more difficult because I, as a mother, needed to know where he was. I needed to know if he was okay because I'm a mom. And we just have to know our babies are okay. So I kept asking, where is he? Somehow give me a sign. I need to know he's all right. I kept imagining, well, he's not dead. He's coming back. Even the Bible says, ask and it shall be answered unto you. And I thought, Jesus raised Lazarus from the dead, so I'm going to ask him, bring my son back. Well, that didn't happen. So one day I was at church, And there's a little chapel across the church from the main sanctuary. And every Sunday after church, I would go to that chapel and I would get on the kneeling bench and I would just pray and pray. And I would ask God, please let me know that my little boy is okay. And he was 15, but in my mind, he was my little boy. And I would just keep doing that week after week. And one Sunday after church, I went to that kneeling bench and this woman came in, dark hair, dark eyes. And apparently she'd been going to church for a long time, the same church. And I had never noticed her. But this time she walked in, got on the kneeling bench beside me, and she said, "You're going to think I'm crazy, but I've talked to your son." And yes, I thought, she's crazy. She said that she was able to talk to the dead. And honestly, I just thought, oh boy, here we go. You know, she's right. I thought, this is a real quack here. But she just said, "I can't stand to watch the pain in your eyes anymore." She says, "I've watched you week after week come in here and you look like you're in so much pain. And your son has asked me to get a message to you. And I've got to let you know what he said to hopefully give you peace." And I thought, okay, let her go ahead. I mean, really? Seriously? And then she blew me away because she said, "Your son told me to please tell you, his mom, that the minute he died, his eyes were opened and he could see the truth." My prayer. Only God knew that prayer. My son didn't know that prayer because he was alive when I kept praying that prayer. But the exact words, "Tell my mom, the minute I died, my eyes were opened and I could see the truth." So I had to believe her. In fact, every time I saw her from that time on, I actually had a hard time looking at her because I thought, oh, wow, she can look into my soul maybe. And, but that gave me so much strength and peace. And as she said, he said he couldn't be at peace until he knew his mother was at peace. And to give me peace, tell me that. Let me know that his eyes were opened and he saw the truth. So when I was looking in his beautiful eyes that morning, maybe he was looking at his mom in a different light. And maybe he saw that woman who gave birth to him, who nurtured him, who stayed up with him when he was sick, who took him to and from school, who helped him with his homework. Maybe he saw that woman and realized how much he loved his mom. I hope that's true anyway. But anyway, after that, I went to my car, and these are back in the days where you still took pictures from cameras that you had to go have the film developed. And so I had driven to a department store where they were developing some pictures, and I picked them up, went out in the car, and sat back down in the car and started looking through the pictures. And lo and behold, there was a picture of my son with his sister just before going to a school dance, and they're standing in a corner together. And in this picture, he's just kind of standing there like he really didn't want to take this picture. But behind him, seriously, behind him, I still got this picture. There is a picture of the bust of the head of Christ. Thorns on his head, and he's looking upward. And I thought, I think I'm being told, Mom, I'm right up here. I'm safe. I'm in a good place. So the next time you have to deal with death, whether it's suicide, a tragic accident, any kind of death where you're dealing with so much pain and grief, if someone comes to you and tells you they have a message for you from the other side, from that loved one, give them a chance, because they may be ready to tell you that their eyes were opened and they could see everything. So until the next time, have a great evening, day, week, whatever. but God be with you.